Is this is this framing okay? I know you guys are putting this up, so it's still a crappy webcam, but there's not much.
No, it's totally fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll just talk for a little bit, and then we'll edit this down to the best parts and get it ready for your pub date.
Sure. Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So are you in Austin right now or Buffalo? Or?
I'm in Austin, thank goodness.
Yeah. So am I.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Great.
I'm sorry, I'm missing it.
No, I was just saying I'm in Austin too.
You're in Austin too, so we could have just done this over coffee.
Yeah.
We could have just met down the street. Instead, we've got Google Hangout set up.
Right.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So tell me, I really enjoyed the book. I mean, one of the things that it made me realize is that, performing comedy, live in front of people is very different than writing jokes and writing comedy, because, on stage, you obviously know how you're doing, based on how the people respond, but
yeah,
you don't really have an audience, right? So how did you know when you'd written something funny and that you wanted to keep it in the book?
Well, I mean, luckily, every day I was working on it with my girlfriend at the time, and she was sort of like my, if I was saying something that wasn't funny, we would find something that was funny. So I kind of had an audience to start with, but the thing that was tricky was actually figuring out how to translate the voice that's on the videos onto the page, because most of my comedy in my videos is all about awkward pauses and sort of the delivery of it, and then working to figure out how to translate that to the written word was like, oh man, I rely a lot on editing and I don't have it here, but so it was definitely different. And then I think it was a process of learning a different literary voice, to say what's funny here, and also just going back to my David Sedaris to listen to all of that stuff and how does he do it, because that was something that was really an inspiration to me, growing up listening to those. We used to listen to things called books on tape when I was a kid. So I mean, it was definitely it was a process. Learning to be funny in a different medium was like hard. It was difficult, but then it's like, if you're just focusing on telling a good story, that comes out. It's like, I didn't really want to focus on just like telling jokes. It was always to serve the story for me, because I didn't want to make like some fluff book, and that was always really important from the outset. And I had like an editor that understood that, and Jillian always understood that, like, okay, you're not just a funny guy, so don't just go for the cheap jokes, because you have YouTube to do that, and this is a book.
Yeah. And so David Sedaris is kind of an idol of yours, would you say? Or?
Yeah, I mean, as close to an idol, as a literary idol as I have, for sure. Like, it was the way that he tells stories is just so funny, and so he's able to pick out these tiny little moments and make something poignant out of them, and that was sort of like the bar that I set for myself, and that of course is impossible, because this is this was the first major thing that I wrote. So like, it was definitely like it was a goal, and I'm sure that like I'm pretty proud of this book and I'm sure that as I write more, I'll be like, oh yeah, now I really hit it.
So, was your girlfriend jealous of Cindy Crawford?
Well, I don't think so because I was 10 at the time, and my taste has changed since I was 10. Thank goodness. But like, I think
You had pretty
everybody.
good taste when you were 10.
What?
You
What?
had pretty good taste.
I did. I mean, she like, she's like 50 something now, and she's still gorgeous. I mean, it sort of did writing through that story made me, awaken some of those childhood feelings. Um, but I don't think she was jealous at all. Like because I don't know, there was a little more depth to our relationship. So.
Right. Do you think Cindy Crawford knows about your hunt to seduce her when you were 10 years old?
Oh God, I hope so. I mean, hopefully she'll read this, and then maybe I'll get a shot.
So what is your writing process like? I mean, can you just sit down and write for a block of time, or do you kind of take notes as you think of something, or?
Well, I mean, I think like it's very like because I'm used to working with teams of people, so it's very like sitting down and like every day for a year it was like working with Jillian and like just sort of talking things through with the ideal person to work with, and then like after like there are so many things of like, okay, I wanted to write a chapter about Olive Garden, right? And then it's like, what do I really have to say about Olive Garden, and why am I drawn to this? And is there any meat on this? And just like working through it to say like, okay, this is why Olive Garden matters to me, and figuring that out as we're working through it is really because you would take an idea like, okay, I know that this is going to seem silly, but I have to earn the fact that Olive Garden is the best restaurant on the planet. And so like when I was going back through it, it's like, okay, well, it's actually sort of intersected with these important moments in my life. And I sort of see Olive Garden as like this place where you go, where you're not trying to make a memory, you're not trying to do anything particularly special at the Olive Garden. So if you go there, you're just going for the people you're going with, and just the moment in the present. And then I can, by saying that, I can make a whole chapter where I get to like plug Olive Garden, which I'm really just hoping for a sponsorship at some point. That's what I want. So,
Right.
and then it's like there were certain things that, isn't it weird how when you're writing, you're like, oh, I'm fine just being as honest as possible about this, but I don't want my family to read it. Like anyone else can read it. But every like just my family members are the ones that I'm frightened of, like what their reaction will be. So
Yeah.
it was like it was a process of coming up with the sort of stories that mattered to me, and then the arcs, and then like figuring out how to tell them in the way that like if you were going to say like it was very much finding the arcs and the themes that I wanted to talk about and building it from there, and then having always having somebody to say like, okay, this is how we make this stronger, or like we're going like you can't just talk about fettuccine alfredo for 3 paragraphs. Let's make this a little bit stronger, or go a little deeper, or like it was definitely like a process of taking something shallow and going deeper and seeing where we ended up.
Yeah. So, do you think you might be the first person to read Olive Garden to L'Espalier?
Oh, I don't know if anybody has directly compared those two before, but I would say both great experiences. Everybody should do both. I I'm lucky to have had that like those experiences like pretty close together. You know, like I went to L'Espalier and then I think like a week later I went to Olive Garden and was like, oh, okay, well this is slightly different. I mean, I love being pampered, but I was totally out of place in a like in a 5-star restaurant. That, I mean, you just feel like you're just not up to the class of the food. Whereas at Olive Garden, I feel right at home.
But you didn't wear Bermuda shorts and a Batman t-shirt, right?
No, didn't wear a Batman t-shirt, so that was good. But I will next time, because when I make enough money, I will be that asshole.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, I'm totally doing it. I mean, I'll be respectful to the staff and everything, but my shirt will have Batman on it.
Nice. So I like what you wrote about plumbing this quote, cowardly Casanova.
So you're breaking up a little bit?
So can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this part about overcoming your, quote, cowardly Casanova groove. Can you talk about how you overcame that?
Well, I mean, I think I was always the guy that was like a hopeless romantic, you know, with the emphasis on the hopeless part. And I was always really scared to make a move or you know, do anything with the opposite sex. And I would always like see my friends with all their girlfriends and do that sort of like really just like cowardly thing of like, oh, I would treat them so much better if I actually had a girlfriend, which was like, I feel like a lot of people do that, and that's just a real, that's just kind of a dick move. But like, I learned from my friends' mistakes. I learned that the correct if you say you want to break up with somebody and they say no, the best, it's not like that because that's happened to my friend multiple times where he's like, I think we should break up, we're breaking up, and then the girl says no, and he says okay, and I learned that that's not the thing to do, you know. So like overcoming it, like the inclination to just like hide in the corner and like just not put myself out there is like, that's still something that I'm going through. But I realize now that I've actually done some things, and I'm a person that I like, and that makes it easier when you look at your life and you're like, wow, I'm actually dateable. Like, I have a career. I'm an author. These are cards that I can play. Like, I'm totally gonna exploit this book thing. It's gonna be great. I'm just gonna I'll take it to bars and stuff. Just
yeah.
You see this? This is written by me.
Are you doing events for this book, like doing bookstore readings?
Yeah, I'm going all over the place. Like I basically go wherever people are interested in hearing me speak. So I'm going to, I'll be doing things at South by, and then I'll be going from Florida to Los Angeles, and then I'll be going to Wisconsin and Memphis and Manitoba, all sorts of places that are just like I think I'm doing the entire continent, like that's great because I love to travel anyway. So it'd be really nice to read some things live, because I've been able to read a few chapters at different events, and that's more my wheelhouse. Being able to perform and get the live reaction to the jokes. So I know, I wish that I had done it while I was drafting it, because then I would have known exactly what jokes work. So
it's the Zach Anner American Continent Tour.
Yeah, Zach Anner across North America. And then I don't know if we'll sell it in other markets, but I'm open to go wherever.
Yeah. So last question, will you please take me to the Olive Garden?
Yes, there's an Olive Garden across the street from my apartment.
Nice.
So if you want to go, I am totally. We should have done the interview at the OG.
We should have. We totally should have. Cool.
Yeah. Anything else you want to know? I'm an open book, or there is a book that you can open and learn things.
Right. Well, thanks so much. I really enjoyed it, and good luck with the tour.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll look forward to watching this again.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Okay. Have a good day.